Coming up on this episode of the Spiro Podcast.
They just want one video and they say, I want this video to get views. I want this video to sell the house. I want this video to grow my brand. I want this video to get me more buyer leads, more seller leads. They have all these different purposes that they want to just kind of squeeze into one video. And there's that quote, like a jack of all trades is a master of none. And so if you have a video that is trying to accomplish all these different purposes and objectives, you're not going to accomplish any of them.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magwell.
Hello and welcome to the Spiro Podcast. Spiro is a real estate business platform that was created to help you grow and scale and manage your business. And we created the Spiro Podcast to help you understand and to inspire you on all things business and how to grow, when to hire, just is my business working for me? And in this podcast is sounding a little bit different today because Craig is not with us today, but I have Shannon with me today, who is going to guide us through. And we have a fabulous guest, Shan, today, don't we?
We do. I'm very excited about this guest.
And I had the pleasure of meeting James this past April at the Northern Spruce Summit. Had an incredible time up in Canada. And he was someone that I knew, and all of you know because you watch him, but I actually got to meet him, and he was gracious enough to come onto the podcast to share what he taught at the summit just a couple months ago. But before we get to that, just a couple of reminders here. If you're looking for something to do in November, Shan, what would somebody do this coming November?
I know exactly what they should do, Todd. They should come visit us and all their friends at the REPP conference in Orlando. We're out of Vegas, baby.
Yes.
Woo!
So excited. Now, I've been reminding you all every week on this. This is one of my favorite times of the year. I love this conference, and it is in November. Check out reppteam.com. We'll put the link below. But if you have not booked and you're looking to be inspired, you're looking to just connect with other people, I think that's the best thing, Shannon, about going to these things. The speakers are great, the venues are great, but the people are what make it.
It is. And honestly, I feel like by November, we're all worn out, the summer business, maybe some last crazy fall photos in October, right? Before leave most of the country. And so absolutely, it's the best thing. And that sense of community and all that, I promise will fill your cup and just help carry you through to making some awesome business decisions through the winter.
Yeah, so check it out. Book your ticket. Come and see us. We'll have a great time. Maybe we'll go to Disney World. I don't know. We'll ride some rides together.
Yay.
Hey, just a quick update on Spiro, things we're working on for you. Much requested open API. It's going to happen. Maybe it's done by the time you're listening to this, but June 23rd, 2026, there's going to be a beta round where we are opening up the API for you so y'all can feed it anywhere and everywhere you want. We're going to build some other tools, MCP, AI agent, all those buzzwords. We're going to give them to you. Also, some app mentions inside of the system. So if you're communicating with your team members and you want to mention an editor, for example, to make an adjustment to a video, you can app mention them directly inside of that project page. They'll be notified. They can go directly back to that project page and just pick up where you left off. So excited about that. Some good things coming here.
That is so exciting, Todd. So you mean like I don't have to Slack? I can actually just kind of mention.
You don't have to Slack. I think the powerful thing is keeping everything in one system where you can understand what's going on with your business and you don't have to check 10 other channels.
Yes, I think this is going to be a winner. So the two things we're really working on to release, I'm very excited about.
Well, great. Hey, let's jump right in here.
Yes.
Like I said, many of you, all of you probably know him, and it was an honor to get to know him. He's just such a down-to-earth guy. Our guest today on the podcast is James Bottomley with Haven Creatives. James, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited and honored to be a guest here.
Oh, that's great. Now, James, we'd love to start off. For those that maybe don't know your background, your story, always, how did you get into real estate media? What were you doing before? What led you into it? And just a little bit about your company.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got started in real estate media when I was 16 years old. I was in high school and I wasn't very academically inclined. We'll put it that way. Um, and I was just kind of struggling to like find things that I was passionate about. And my school offered this kind of multimedia course, which was, photography, video, graphic design, animation, all those kind of digital sort of forms of media. And I really fell in love with just the photography and video side of things. And so, I just kind of went down that rabbit hole, learning how to use a camera, learning how to shoot videos. And eventually I came across a video on YouTube that explained, it was like how to shoot real estate videos. Caught my eye, gave it a watch. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I could make, 200, $300 shooting a house. And as a 16-year-old kid with no money, I mean, that was probably like best case scenario ever. And so I was like, all right, I think, I have enough money kind of saved up. I could probably buy enough, the bare bones basics enough to get started. And so I went to my uncle who actually designs luxury homes here in Calgary, in the city I'm from. And so there was a day that we're at his place, and I was actually too afraid to ask. My dad goes, hey Dean, James got a question for you. I'm like, like I gotta pull this off. So I asked him. I said, hey, you've got these really beautiful luxury homes that you've designed. You've got a photographer, but you don't have anyone doing video for you. Like, I'm trying to learn this video thing. Would it be possible to shoot a few of these homes? And so for whatever reason, he said yes, and gave me my first kind of few homes I shot were obviously for free. I was just learning, but they were these pretty nice homes. And I kind of just fell in love with it right away. I was like, this is what I want to do. And so throughout kind of the remainder year and a half, 2 years of high school, it was just like extremely part-time. I probably could count the number of shoots I did on my two hands. And then once I graduated or was getting close to graduating, I was like, I really enjoy this. I think I have what it takes to like make this into a full-time business. And so once I graduated, I was like, I'm not going to school afterwards. I'm going to go full-time into this business. And so I went kind of full-time in 2022, the summer of 2022. So it's been almost 4 years now. I've been full-time in the business. And I run Haven Creatives, and now we're at the point where I kind of position the business as a creative agency that specializes in real estate and luxury real estate media. So we're not like a one-stop shop for media for anything or for everything. It's we specialize primarily in video. We do some photos as well. We do a lot of kind of social media work and working with agents and helping them build their brands through content, high elevated content. We work a lot with kind of like top producers as well as kind of the top builders in the city as well. And then, obviously kind of on the other side of that, I try to teach everything that I know on YouTube in terms of kind of the production side of how to film, how to edit. And that's kind of that's where I'm at right now.
How fun.
Yeah.
James, people like you give me so much hope for the future. And we have quite a few young entrepreneurs that I'm very excited about to see you guys just pick up and get this trait and go, knowing that you don't need to go spend hundreds of thousands of dollars at college to have a great career and a great business. So kudos to you. Well done. It is not easy, and you did it at such a young age. It's very impressive.
Thank you.
Now, we typically don't talk gear, but I know everybody because they look up to your videos and what you're doing. And I think the point that I want to make is and why I'm asking this, like, I think James's gear is the same gear that's probably in your kit, around the same. And I'm guessing, I actually don't know, but I'm guessing this because I think the thing is what I want you to take away from the podcast today is the theory behind the way James creates. It's very methodical, and it's so creative and looks so great, but it's always methodical, and it's built on solid foundations of technique and timing and a lot of those little things. The little things are what make it that much better. But just for the fun of it, James, what's in your kit? What do you shoot with? Camera, lenses? If you open it up and we saw a picture of it, what's in there?
I'm a Canon guy. I know a lot of the industry kind of leans towards Sony, but I've been on Canon ever since I started. Right now, I have recently over the past months, I did kind of upgrade to a cinema camera. So it may not be what everyone's using, but for the longest time, I was just using a Canon R6 Mark II, which is just like the kind of intermediate camera on Canon, and that's what I was using. And I've got the same kind of lens that everyone has, which is a 12 millimeter lens for the wides and a little 50 millimeter for my detail shots, and a Ronin gimbal and a DJI Air 3 drone. It's the gear is not anything extraordinary. Like there's more expensive gear out there, but I've been able to kind of master what I have, and you don't need the most expensive gear out there for sure to create really high quality stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I love that inspiration. So if you're thinking, hey, I want my videos to get better, let me go research a camera, please. I love you all, but please don't do that. Your camera is probably fine where it's at. Let's focus on the technique and the things James is going to teach us today. So James, at the summit, you taught about kind of some theory about marketing, how you go about marketing. And I think a lot of listeners want to take or like the idea of taking their media company to more of an agency, things that you're doing, and how can they help their agents market at a higher level. And you taught a lot of that at the summit. So can you kind of take us through those levels and those tiers of kind of influence and marketing?
I think the number one thing that it's all a perspective shift, I think. And what a lot of real estate media, companies do is, they go to their agent or their client and they say, hey, what do you want to create? It kind of falls on them sometimes. And a lot of times the agents, they don't really have a clear understanding. It's just like in our industry where we watch all the other real estate videographers and photographers and what they're doing. Real estate agents, they watch what all the other real estate agents are doing. And so they see other people doing these things and they see, the views, and they get this kind of shiny object syndrome, which we're all subject to. But the agents typically see a video, oh, that one went viral. That one got a lot of views. I want to do something like that.
I want to do that.
Exactly. A lot of them just kind of they associate the view count with what they can observably see. And they don't often see what happens behind the scenes and what actually made that content successful. And so the perspective shift that I've taken over the past kind of 8 to 12 months is figuring out what is happening behind the scenes in content that actually makes it work, and how can I help my agents or my clients actually grow business through their social media so that their marketing isn't just a cost that they just pay because it's what they're told to do. It's something that's actually helping them make some money, grow their business, get new leads, whatever that is. And so I think the number one foundation is understanding that every video needs to have a purpose. And a lot of times as real estate professionals and agents who maybe they don't have a large budget, they just want one video, and they say, I want this video to get views, I want this video to sell the house, I want this video to grow my brand, I want this video to get me more buyer leads, more seller leads. They have all these different purposes that they want to just kind of squeeze into one video. And the quote that I kind of use at the summit is there's that quote is like a jack of all trades is a master of none. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a video that is trying to accomplish all these different purposes and objectives, you're not going to accomplish any of them. Mm-hmm. And so we want to take the approach where one video has one specific purpose. And that kind of falls into a category that I use, and it's not new. It's, you hear it all the time. It's a funnel, right? You've got the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. Mm-hmm. And in each of those are really three categories. You've got, your top of funnel content would be your awareness content. Mm-hmm. The middle funnel is kind of your consideration, and the bottom of the funnel is your conversion content. And so awareness content, it's more broad, right? This is for the people who don't know you. Mm-hmm. This is, maybe we are optimizing for reach, not necessarily views. It's not always about going viral, but we are optimizing to reach new people. And then that middle funnel content, that consideration, this is where, we've got the people, we've got some eyeballs. Now we need people to just this is where we need them to trust us, our client. We want them to trust you, because if they don't trust you, they're never going to give you a transaction, right? We want to create content that is proving to other people that you are worth listening to and trusting. And then finally, we get to the bottom funnel, and that is our conversion content. And that's where, a lot of people say, oh, these videos don't sell the homes. And sometimes that's not always what we're going for. It kind of depends on, what is the main objective that you're trying to accomplish with your agent or with your client. And so maybe that is selling the home, but maybe a conversion just simply means from that piece of content, you got someone reach out to you, say, hey, I love the way that you created this video, that you marketed this home. I'm looking to sell my home in the next, 3 to 6 months. I'd love to have a conversation. That's a conversion, right? Or maybe they do sell the home, or maybe it ends up, if they want to, some agents are, growing their own kind of teams or coaching offers as well. Maybe that's a new agent in the pipeline, right? But it's understanding, it's like, all right, here are the different kind of pieces that you can fit your content into. And, you have to understand it is a funnel, that we're not always looking at views, because a conversion piece of content, we're talking to a smaller number of people. And so understanding and helping our clients just understand that social media and marketing and video content is not all about the views. It's just about the right views. And that's what matters most.
Well said. I mean, how do we even follow that, Todd?
Yeah. Well, I think from my perspective, this is a lot of what James has given us today. I would suggest that if it's not second nature to you, or if you need to, absorb some of it or listen to it again, this is what you probably want to teach your agents to get them. If you're saying, hey, my agents barely spend, a $200 upgrade video for me, how do I get it to be a $5,000 video? James, is that an important part, educating the clients as to like what you're doing to us today?
Yes, 100%. And I think a lot of it as well is, we want to, at least for me, I want to help my clients grow their brand. And sometimes, if their content, if their brand is solely relying on their only filming content when I'm around, then they don't have their own personal brand. It's me. And so educating my clients has helped them with, like, yes, obviously when they're creating content with me, they hire me, here we have the game plan. They can kind of rely on me in that. But when I'm not around, or when they just want to go create content, they know what to do in a sense. They know how to, use their phone. They know how to create content that's going to help them with their business. And yeah, totally educating that, because a lot of them just don't know. A lot of them just they see the video and they think this has to sell my house, my property, or they're growing their brand and it's been a month and they've posted 3 or 4 videos and they're like, why do I not have 10,000 followers yet? What's going on? It's helping them understand, it's like content and brand is a long game.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're really serious about doing it, it is a long game. You can't really shortcut your way through it. Maybe you could, but it's not going to be sustainable, right? And a lot of agents are trying to build a sustainable business at the end of the day. And so, yeah, educating them as well. And it helps, it does open their mind as well to go, they're thinking of this and going, oh, I never thought of that. Okay, let's do this, let's create a video for here. And then it opens their mind to even think about, okay, let's do a second one. Maybe let's do a third one as well, and kind of creating more campaign approach. And all of a sudden, they're not just looking at a $500 video as like, oh, this is, too much and it's not working. They go, okay, I have to do this, this, and this. Maybe it costs them a little bit more, but if you can help educate, and as someone who, you come in as the expert, they're going to feel a lot safer investing in you, because they trust that you know what you're doing.
I think that's so smart. And it's the idea of an expense versus an investment. Like you said, James, it's who wants one more expense? Nobody. We all have way too many subscriptions. We all have way too many things. It's the way the world's built, unfortunately. I just got one in my inbox. I'm like, we pay $97 a month for that. Like, I don't even know what that does. And we pay $97. So if your clients see you as an expense, then it's eventually expenses get cut out. But an investment is way different. And when you can open up their mindset and they understand, it's not that they're completely against it. They're just protective of expenses. We all are. They're just protective because they don't have a closing for 2 weeks. And it's like, hey, I'm managing 5 listings right now and everything that's carrying on 5 listings. And I have a closing in 2 weeks, but I got to pay the bills. I got kids. I got a house payment. And so they're like, am I really going to do this? Well, you cut out expenses when you're in that mindset, but you'll make investments as a business owner because that's going to get you more closings. So James, can we look at some of the content that you're like, what does the actual output look like for some of these top, middle, and then the bottom, the conversion of the funnel? What does some of the outputs look like?
I'll talk, there's kind of two, especially now, there's really kind of two mediums for agents. And I guess any real estate professionals now is, but we'll talk more agents. You've got the listing content, and then now you've really got branding content where agents are seeing these other realtors who are building their brands that are not reliant on listings, and but they're building their brands. But I will talk first on just kind of listing content, because that's what most of us are shooting, and most of what we're getting hired for. And so top of funnel awareness content is typically, this is where we want, again, we're optimizing just for more eyeballs. We want to capture people's attention. We want people to see a property. It's kind of like a movie trailer in a sense, right? If we're thinking the home is the movie, then we want to create a trailer. And what's the purpose of a trailer? And that's just to build awareness.
Excite the audience, right, James?
Exactly.
Like, you're exciting. Yes. Yep. It's the same thing. It's just different forms.
Totally. We want to show them enough to get them excited, but not enough to make a decision whether or not that property is for them.
Yeah.
We don't want to give them a reason not to buy, right? Because we want our agent, our clients, our realtor agents, they're good at what they do. They're good at selling homes. All we have to do is bring them a lead, and the rest is up to them. And so that's kind of what the awareness is we just want to create attention. We want, maybe the script is a little more bold. It's a little more in your face. Maybe it's a little more creative as well, just to like bring it to people's attention and go, oh, who is that? What is this? What am I looking at? We want them to just kind of pique their curiosity. And then when it comes to consideration, this is kind of where it's a little bit more focused on kind of the lifestyle a little bit. This is where we want people to understand, okay, they're interested in a property, right? They got their interest piqued, but like, is this for them? Like, well, why should I purchase this home? Why should I even be interested? Why should I go book a showing? And so then we kind of play a little bit more on the lifestyle aspect, the capabilities, the possibilities of what life could be like in this home, right? We're not talking about the granite countertops and the feature wall. We're talking about, here's where you're going to entertain your family and your friends on the holidays. Here's where you're going to watch your kids play and grow up. Here's where you're going to have, boys' night, downstairs, pool table, little bar, have a great time. Here's where you're going to like relax every morning when you wake up in your primary bedroom, right? The lifestyle kind of things to make people start to feel a little bit more of an emotional attachment, because purchasing a home is a very emotional experience.
Very.
And then finally, that conversion content. Here's where it's like, all right, we can get a little bit more into the details. We're not going to focus like too much and, word vomit all on them. But it's like, all right, you've got the bedrooms, here's some of like the high quality upgrades, the finishes a little bit, the square footage, the location, things like that, to go, all right, now I feel like this could be for me, but I just want to make sure, what exactly am I getting here? And that's where that kind of conversion content comes in. So we take them on this kind of journey of like, from first kind of initial, oh, that's kind of cool, to, okay, yeah, I could see us moving in here. I could see myself moving in here, living here, whatever, to, okay, yeah, I like this. This is what I'm looking for. And so it's just kind of taking them on that journey throughout that funnel.
From that funnel top down, James, does you talked about the format and kind of what the call to actions are. What about the length of the video? Does that have any effect on those videos?
Not too much. I think, it's social media, and so most videos are really, I mean, unless you've cracked the code and you're really, really good, videos are usually kind of limited to around 60 seconds.
Mhm.
Again, this is social media. People aren't necessarily shopping for homes on social media. Some people will like to tell you that, but they're not consciously, when I go to look for a house, I'm not consciously I'm going to go to Instagram and see what I can find.
Yeah.
So we still want to make sure that we're optimizing for that platform to keep it short, to keep it engaging. I think the sweet spot is kind of 45 seconds to 60 seconds.
Mhm.
If it goes over, it goes over, but you have to keep it engaging throughout.
Is there a place, is there a different video then for outside of social media, like your typical like MLS or the thing that hits the feed? Like, is there a video that's good for that?
Yeah, so I think that like that typical MLS listing video, that is more kind of conversion content. Most
Okay.
people aren't going to see that on the feed, right? It is horizontal. You can post it on Instagram for sure. So just another piece of content that's going to help you. But that piece of content is primarily living on the MLS on the listing website. And so people aren't really going to see that until they're interested in the property enough to go outside of social media, outside of wherever they found the listing to the website to scroll. And that's where that listing video is going to live. And so that kind of plays a little bit more to it's kind of consideration and conversion. But that video, you can, I did one recently that was like 2.5 minutes long, right? You can extend the length there. You get to show more because now we're not fighting for people's attention span. They're here. They're going to watch it. And so you might as well do a really good job at, showcasing more. Again, it's to complement the photos. We don't need to show every single room because every single room is going to be on the photos and they can find that. But it's more about, creating that emotional attachment, showcasing the flow, a few different angles of the space, more the location, and just kind of how the home interacts with itself.
I love the segments you put into it and the idea of thinking it. We kind of had a funny one, and funny, not funny one, but with a new photographer who shot a house that it was just not that nice of a house. And they're trying to do like all of these shots on like doilies and like really old sinks. And it's just like we're almost like making the video worse from the agent perspective because we're like focused in on details that are bad.
Yeah.
So with that, I think so. We see all of the beautiful houses that you're shooting, James. I'm sure they're all not beautiful. And for a listener out there that's saying, "Hey, I shoot my average 3-bed, 2-bath, on a quarter of an acre. It's in a neighborhood. Like, maybe this isn't relevant to me. Like, can this be done on any property?"
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, typically, a smaller property is going to just kind of by proxy, the agent's going to have a smaller commission. And so they may not always have the budget to go and, spend a couple $1,000s on 3 different videos. And so typically, if you're thinking, all right, or doing a property, it's maybe $500,000, $600,000. The agent only has the budget for one video. What do I do?
Yeah.
I would recommend going kind of the middle of funnel conversion because at that point, it's still broad enough to capture new people's attention, but it's also narrow enough, specific enough to help people kind of create an association with that home, to start to feel like they could maybe be in that. If we only go for the awareness content, we could get lots of eyeballs, but lots of eyeballs don't always convert right away into interested people and into buyers. And if we only go for conversion, well, we don't really have any people already interested to create that conversion in the first place. So, because I, like you said, I still film properties that are not, the top of the line. I still film the average house here and there. And a lot of those times, the agents don't have a large marketing budget because their commission is smaller than it is on a $1 million, $3 million, $5 million property. And so that's kind of how I like to go about it. It's like, all right, here's what we have to work with. Let's create something that we can give you, the agent, the best advantage possible to market this property. And then as well, it's at that point, it's like, hey, we do a really awesome video for this average home. You can then leverage that in your next listing appointments to go forward and say, hey, here's what we did for like a regular home. Imagine what we could do for your home. That's maybe twice the price, or more expensive. It becomes a tool that they can leverage. And so also in kind of educating agents with content is that, a lot of them just see it as that short term. I get a piece of content for the listing. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It was a waste of your money or their money. It's like, no, you can leverage this. It goes into like, you become the agent who's known for creating this type of content for all listings, and you can go moving forward. And so creating one piece of content, I like to optimize more for that kind of middle of funnel consideration type of content.
So, James, I just love all that you're doing, and you really do understand the mind of a real estate agent. So I also appreciate that so much because I completely agree with everything you're saying. I've been telling agents to do for years. So it's good to know agents are the same everywhere, I guess. But speaking of just the agent, can we get back over then to the branding side? You mentioned you had, the listing. Tell us more about the branding side and what you're doing there.
So the branding side has really kind of taken off lately. I'd say in the past, even 6 months or so, 6 to 12 months, with, these agents. I think the one that most people know is Kelsey. I think she's based out of like North Carolina or something like that. And she's really taken off. And it's really opening the eyes of real estate agents to go, okay, I can create content and help or continue to build my business even if I don't have listings. Because a lot of agents, if they don't have a listing, they're not going to create content. And so their brand or their business can sometimes come to a bit of a stalemate as they're trying to find their next listing. And so the branding content is kind of that bridge to like, all right, now I want to create a business that can continue to work and spin even if I don't have a current listing on the go. And I think the branding side is, they're also realizing you can reach a lot more people through social media than you can through, flyers, mailers, email newsletters, door knocking, right? Those old school kind of marketing methods. Here is a way that, it's less time for them with more reach. And so that's kind of where the branding comes in is, I want to help clients build their brand so that they can, again, make more money. That's the point of a business, is to make more money without feeling the stress of like, oh my gosh, I got to find my next listing. I got to do this and I got to do that. And so this whole kind of branding thing is, I want to help agents. And I think ultimately agents, it comes with more education as well, because they just go, okay, I create branding content, I get more leads, and it happens like that. And it's not the case, unfortunately. Helping them just like understand, okay, what is, you want to create a brand, like what is brand? A lot of people don't know what that means. Real estate agents and real estate media owners also don't really understand what that is, because I think a lot of people, when they think of brand, because we've all heard it, you see people advertise their businesses, our content helps you build your brand. And it's like, what does that actually mean? And a lot of people are under the assumption that, your brand is the quality of your product. So in this case, an agent's brand would be that the fact that they have the highest quality marketing content in their market. The thing is, it's like, we're at the point where, lots of real estate media companies, they've all gotten really good, right? Pretty much everybody's producing a very high quality product. And so if brand is just relying on product, well, you're kind of back to square one. It's like, you're not standing out anymore because all the other people in your market have high quality videos. And so the kind of definition that I like to use for brand is your brand is the associations that people make of you based off the things that you pair yourself with. So to just kind of like give you an example, if we think of Nike and their brand, all right, when you think of Nike, you think of like greatness, elite performance, athletes, underdog story, overcoming obstacles, competing on like the biggest stages in the world. It's like, why do we think of that? Well, because Nike has paired themselves with athletes, the top athletes in the world, and they tell their stories, right? They tell the stories of, how they got started and the obstacles that they overcame, and, how they went from being a nobody sometimes to now being a top athlete in their sport. But what we don't often think of when we think of Nike is their shoes or their shorts or their shirts. That's the product, but the brand is the associations that we create. And so because of those things, when I'm looking for new running shoes or new athletic wear, I am far more likely to go with Nike because they have that brand and I can kind of relate to, their story and what they kind of stand for compared to, I don't know, say another brand. Let's say just say a startup athletic wear where their product might be a high quality product similar to Nike, but they don't have a strong pull, a strong brand because there's no association there. And so if we translate that into real estate and with agents, I want to help my agents pair themselves with things that are going to create this brand of that people go, yes, I want to work with that person because of X, Y, and Z. Not just because they have, cool videos or, they look pretty on camera, but it's because when I watch their content, I feel a certain type of way about them. I can relate to some sort of thing. And so that is the whole purpose of branding content. It's to create this kind of flywheel that keeps going. Is like we build this up and now people start to see you and go, okay, I love how, this real estate agent, Todd, is, he stands for this. He talks a lot about X, Y, and Z in his content. And so we're creating that leverage within their business. And then, we can take that same kind of content funnel, the awareness, consideration, and conversion. We can apply that into branding content as well. And so that awareness is, that's maybe a little bit more about, going bold about who you are, what you do, and just starting to create those associations of things that you are interested in or things that, have helped you with your business or things that, are just part of your everyday life, right? Because at the end of the day, the point of a personal brand is the personal aspect.
Still about the human connection at the end of the day. Always is, always will be.
100%. Yeah. And then that, consideration, that's where you start to explain your expertise a little bit more. Here's what we can do. Here's some results that we've produced. Here's, the strategies that we use when we sell a home or we're helping you look for a home or whatever that is. And then that conversion is, here's why you should work with me kind of content. And so it's just, again, creating those levels to, we want to give agents the best possible opportunities to build their business. And if we can do that, we're not as replaceable, right? We're not seen as an expense, like you said, Todd. We're seen as an investment in their business.
Yeah. I had like this little bit of like light bulb moment come up when you were explaining that, James. So this last weekend, my son and I were at a basketball tournament, and I have a 13-year-old. I talk a lot about basketball, you all know. And we were in a basketball tournament a couple hours away. On the way back home, we stopped at outlet stores. And I'm like, hey, B, where do you want to go? He's like, hey, let's go to Nike. First store. Wants to go to Nike. 13-year-old boy. It's just, he's into basketball. So we go to Nike and look through the stuff there. And then we go to a couple other stores. And we walked into Puma, which if I were to ask all of you to name a shoe brand, you would probably say Nike first, unless maybe you're an avid runner and then you say some specialized, shoe company. But I don't think any of you would say Puma. And I walked into the Puma store and I'm like, oh, this looks a lot like Nike. Like the design of the store, the sweatshirts, everything's cut the same. The shoe, like everything, the shoes are styled the same. And it's just like, wait a minute, like Puma's just trying to be Nike. And they buy a big star LaMelo Ball. Like, it's just like, but they're not Nike. And the kids don't want Puma shoes as a whole. So I think it's just so interesting when you said that. And then Shannon, what you said about they're still the personal. That's what's important. Like, I think it's so important that if you have agents come to you and they want to do videos, that you explain what James explained to us today, because if you're just mimicking another video, it's not going to work. In the end, that agent's going to hate themselves in that video because that's not them. They can jump in all the pools they want to. They can do all the silly things in the house. They can drink. They can have enough bottles of wine or champagne. They can do all the crazy things. And if it's not them, the viewers are going to go, wait a minute, this just feels off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you see that, James? Then how do you get an agent to say, hey, you don't actually have to jump in the lake? Like, if you normally don't jump in lakes and you're not funny and you're an introvert, probably don't jump in the lake today. Like, how do you explain that to them?
That's a fantastic point, Todd, is that, if you are trying to be someone that you are not, it is going to feel physically draining, and B, you're just not going to get the results. Because people can tangibly feel when someone's not being authentic, right? We've kind of, especially in this social world, we've developed these inbuilt radars to be like, that's a fraud, or that's not authentic to who that person is. And I get that. We work with all types of different people, all types of different personalities, and a lot of them sometimes think that they have to be the loudest, the boldest, they have to jump in the pool, whatever. But that's not the case. And so I talked a little bit about this at the summit, and I'll kind of go through my brand development framework. Is because a brand should be it should be individual, right? Nobody can ever be Nike. There can be overlap, there can be some similarities for sure, right? But it's like, nobody can ever be you, Todd, and nobody can ever be you, Shannon, and you can never be each other. And so, yes, you may have similar interests, but there's always going to be that individualistic approach to a brand. And so when I'm speaking to clients or agents about, they say, all right, I want to do this brand thing. That's kind of what they say. I want to create content. I want to build my brand. I always like to have this conversation of, all right, let's figure out, what does that look like for you? Because I can't tell them what their brand should be, because I don't know them. I don't know them that well. Maybe, especially even if I've been working, I've had clients I've been working with for a couple of years, but we've only been doing listing content. Now, like, okay, I want to build my brand. I still never know them well enough to be able to tell them what to do. And so I kind of took this from the kind of creative director who worked for, built the brands of like Gary Vee and the Hermosis. He kind of had this framework, and I took a little bit of it and then adjusted it into how to make it better for real estate agents. But the first question I asked is, we kind of work backwards. We start way out in the future. And that's the first question I asked him is, what is your desired outcome? What do you want to achieve with your content? Do you want more sellers? Do you want more buyers? Do you want to be exclusively luxury or do more luxury deals? Do you want to build a big team and have, a coaching offer for other real estate agents? Do you want to speak on stages at real estate conferences?
Yeah.
Right? Whatever their desired outcome is, it's like, we figure that out first. And from then we move into question number 2. And this is where we start to create those associations. And that is, what do you have to be known for in order to achieve that desired outcome, right? This is kind of where we start to get a bit into the brand part. What do people have to know you for in order for you to accomplish your desired outcome? What do you have to be known for in order to be invited to speak on those stages? What do you have to be known for in order to list more luxury properties? Things like that. So here's where we start to create those associations. Question number 3 is, all right, what kind of content is going to make that happen? Right. And I think it's important to note that talking about the content is number 3, because a lot of agents will come to their real estate media provider and they go, what should I post? What kind of content should I post? And then, as the real estate media provider, sometimes we'll, then go on to Instagram, find some like top performing real estate posts and go, all right, here's some ideas and whatever. But the reason I put that third is that if the content that you're going to post is not going to help you become known for the thing that's going to help you achieve your desired outcome, you should not post it. A lot of agents post market updates. Is that really going to help you become known for the thing that you want to achieve? If it is, sure, by all means. But sometimes, and most of the times, maybe not. So then we have that content. All right, here's what we're going to post that's going to help us become known for that thing. And then finally, this is where we get individualistic, is what can you leverage? What is unique to you that you can use in this content that is going to make you unique from everybody else? Is it the access that you have? Is it, you're super great on camera? Is it the connections that you have? Is it your personality or your story or, the background that you have, what you've accomplished, whatever is specific to them? That is how I help agents understand their brand. And then that goes back to understanding. It's like, all right, once we have that in place, you don't always need me, right? Once you have that, it's like they can then be like, all right, maybe they are short on money this month, or they don't have the budget to spend X amount of dollars on just marketing content. Well, they now have this playbook that they've built out together that goes, all right, I can still create some content to help build my brand, even though I'm not spending money on, a real estate media company this month or whatever. And that's how we help them kind of understand, all right, here's the brand. And it gives us a North Star to move towards. It helps me as the media provider to create ideas for them. It helps them to create ideas for themselves. And then they don't feel like they have to try to be someone else. They can just kind of be them in their content and trust that that's going to work.
And the content will be so much better because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's another thing to remember. Like you said earlier, like you feel it when you're not really being you.
Yeah.
And so you watch that back and you're like, oh gosh, right? And then that's when agents start to go, I can't do this. I can't, right? Like, and so it's a trickle effect there. And so it really is important, just be yourself. Agents used to ask me all the time when I was in recruiting, what should I wear for my headshot? Like, should I wear a suit? And I was like, well, are you going to wear a suit every day in the job? No. I'm like, then don't wear a suit. Yeah. Like, you have to be you, and you want to present yourself as you will present in life. So your people don't feel like they got the wrong impression. Right. Yeah. And so it's because the first impression is everything. So kudos to you. And figuring all this out at such a young age, James, truly an inspiration to me and all others, that there'll be people to take care of my old butt as I age. So thank you for all you're doing. I mean, keep it up. That's what I have to say right now. Todd, what are you thinking?
Yeah, super impressive. I love how you break it down, and make it so digestible for us, and then in turn we can make it digestible to the agents. So, James, if I got a couple quick hits, because since I have you here, I could probably do 3 podcasts with you today, and we're going a little long, but I think the listeners will love it. I just like, what do you do for fun? Where do you keep your creative? How do you stay sharp creatively? Like creating new things? Like, I guess we'll start with that. I got a couple more quick hits, but just interested.
Yeah. So like I said, when I started, I was really into photography. And so I live in Calgary, which is about an hour drive from Banff National Park, beautiful mountains. And so I love going out there on the weekends, do a hike with some friends, bring the camera, maybe shoot a video or just shoot some photos. And then I just love watching travel content or
Mm.
people who are like create travel content for a living and really cinematic stuff like that. I get a lot of inspiration out of that and just ideas with how things are put together and song selections and all these different like emotion. I think a lot of that falls into like the emotion category of content. And so I love consuming that kind of content. I love just doing photography out in the mountains, landscape photography as just a hobby, just to kind of, keep my brain creative and outside of the space of the industry. And then, there's always things to learn from other little niches and whatever that I can pull into then my work.
What do you think's next for the real estate media industry?
I think it is going to be a lot of video content. And it's going to be interesting to see it play out with AI because AI is the next big and hottest thing. And lots of different companies are finding different ways to create videos without needing a videographer. And so I think there's going to be a separation, especially with this branding content, building agents' brands of like helping them stand out in a world of AI where everything kind of just it's at your fingertip. Everyone looks the same because they can just put in a prompt and get their result. So I think there's going to be this interesting clash of organic human-made content and videos and the AI generated stuff. And to be honest, I think it's the Wild West right now, and it's only going to continue to be that way. And so we'll kind of see how that plays out.
It's interesting. You talk about the Wild West, and it makes me think about like go back to the gold rush ages, where everyone flocked, out west to mine for gold. And goodness, I think my boys were doing a study on this in school, and we were reading a book. But so there was some people that really struck it big, but the people that there's most of them lost everything. But the funny thing is the people who had like the gold mine stores and the saloon and the shops there that were just they were the contrast to the gold mine. They're like, hey, we're not going to go do we're not going to go do what everybody else is doing. Typically in life, if you're doing what everybody else is doing, it's probably not the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's generalizing a little bit. Like everybody loves McDonald's. Does it mean you should go eat McDonald's?
Yeah.
Everybody loves a mocha frappa with sprinkles and 3 layers of sugar on top of it. Does it mean you should drink that every day? I'm not judging here. But I'm just saying, if everybody's doing it, that's maybe when you go, hey, wait a minute, how can I understand what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
But then is that the right thing to do? Especially in the times when it's like the Wild West. And I agree it is that kind of time.
Yeah, and I don't know how fair housing laws are up in Canada, but I'm concerned about some of the fair housing here in the US and how they're going to get involved with some of this. Obviously none of that AI can be in the MLS, but it is getting marketing out there. And, consumers can sometimes not understand what they're viewing. It's the nicest way I can say it. And they will, start to get confused. And I think when that happens, we're going to see some regulations come from the industry, and they don't even know how to navigate it right now. So that's why it's the Wild Wild West, because they can't even fathom it. But that'll happen in the next couple years. I really do think we're going to see like some sort of hologram that has to be on any video or photo that's been created with AI. Like I see that because consumers could get very confused that that pool really isn't in the backyard. And, some of that can be, if the agent doesn't handle it right, it could be misrepresentation, which could be problematic, So there's just so many layers to all this stuff. But at the end of the day, if you go be you, and agents should be ethical in all the things that we have to be, and just go be you, then you're going to win every day with content. I screamed so WOW had a meeting in our office a couple weeks ago. And so I went to it, and I was helping the sales guys out, and it's fun to see it from like all angles. But as agents can definitely feel like regulations are going to come into place at some point. So we'll just have to walk how it is. But I tell them all the time, if you get a listing video, can you reuse it? Like you can reuse that content. So I love that you're taking your clients to that space and educating them, James. Just again, well done, sir.
Thank you.
Any closing thoughts for us today, James?
We talked a lot about kind of the content side of things, but I know a lot of people may also know me for the quality of work that I produce. And so if people are looking to kind of learn how to level up their skills and become a better real estate videographer or editor, you can find me on YouTube, James Bottomley, and I kind of try to teach everything I know. My mission was to be the resource I wish I had when I started. So hopefully there's something out there that you can get some value from.
James, thank you so much. Enjoy your videos. Keep up the good work, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for everything you shared today, and we'll have to have you back on again here soon.
Well, thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. I'd be happy to come back.
Awesome.
Love it. Shannon, what a great podcast. Love the inspiration there. Any closing thoughts for us?
No, I hope everybody listens to the end on this one. So I don't know, maybe that's what we have to put on the thumbnail, right? Better listen to the end.
Listen to the end.
Listen to the end on this
We
one.
need some
It's
hook there. That's good.
worth every minute. So, no, that's all I have, Todd. Excited for what we're working on, and excited to get some things out to our users that can help them grow their business.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us this week. If you have a question, please reach out to us, hello@spiro.media. You can comment on the YouTube video as well. We are here for you. If we don't know an answer, we'll go find an expert that knows the answer. So make it a great rest of your week, and thank you for spending some time with us. Hey, be thankful for the blessings that you have in your life, and be sure to take a breath. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.